life, your term show.
All right, guys. It's not. I was going to say New Year, but it's not New Year because we're almost like at the end of January. But we're late doing this because the New Year always brings out health people, and that's why I wanted to have you guys on because I know because there's a lot of people out there that have made health, fitness, nutrition goals this year, and they've probably gone onto AI, some sort of AI, and said, what do I do? What should I do? I want to do this.
It's probably not even a bad place to start.
It's probably better than a lot of websites now these
100%.
days. Yeah. But what do you guys, are you guys seeing? So first, before I ask you that, just to give everyone some context, Dan, you've been on before, Mike, you haven't, but just give everyone kind of like a 20-second summary of kind of who you are, what you're up to, and kind of what you focus on.
All right. My name is Dan Thiessen, and I'm the owner at Radix Gym and the new Spot Prospect Lab. I'm just working with people trying to be healthy and a lot of youth athletes.
And Mike?
Mike Dabrowski. I'm the owner of Elevate Rehab and Performance. I'm an athletic therapist and I help people move better.
Perfect. Okay. So now just so everyone's got context, and Mike, I haven't been working with you just because I have an athletic therapist that I've been working with, but I've heard good things because there's Paul in our office has been using you for a while, and he braves about you, and he saw multiple other people beforehand. So just to give you kind of credit for that,
I saw him the other day.
Oh yeah, and then
I saw him there too.
Yeah, and Dan I've known for longer than I care to admit at this point. So, and usually, actually, Dan's given me a lot of good advice. Usually, I don't. There's many times I don't listen to Dan, and usually when I don't, it doesn't really work out that well.
That's right.
But I never really admit to it. I just kind of like hobble out of the gym, and be like, oh shoot, that was stupid.
The best is on the Saturday mornings when you write the workout, and then I give everybody the look like, you guys shouldn't do that.
Yeah, those are good ones. I don't try to write them. No one else comes up with anything, so I just got to do it. The best one time I went for as a therapist, Mike, you'd like this because we worked up and I wanted to hit a PR a back squat PR. So we worked up and I hit the PR, hit the goal that I wanted for a number of years.
I remember this very vividly. So it made me very angry.
So I hit this PR, right? And I'm like, oh, that's great. So then the next week, so I'm feeling pretty good. And the next week, I got almost a week goes by or whatever. Next week, I'm training with some other
Joe.
Yeah,
it was Joe.
Yeah, so we're training and we're doing some weightlifting, like some Olympic weightlifting or whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna do some squats, and so I do a couple back squats, and it's feeling pretty good. And Joe's like, yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm like, yeah, I felt like I could have gone heavier. So then I go for another PR. I'm like, I can beat my PR from last week. So I go for another PR. I managed to do it. It was kind of ugly. It wasn't nearly as good as the week before. Dan just looks over and gives me this glare that you've never given me before, and you were like, what an idiot.
I was so disappointed. But can you imagine you hit 105% of your best squat ever, and then a week later you just go for 110%.
Maybe give it some time.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm not saying I'm the
He got away with it, but I was.
Well, no, hold on, because here's the bit that I'm not certain on.
Did you go on vacation after that one, or is that a Fran one?
No,
there was one you went on vacation. You're like, I was messed up.
Yeah, there was something else. That was when I didn't hit the PR because my quad something happened to my quad.
Yeah.
But it was, I think that might be, and I'm not sure because I didn't feel the pain till like a few days later. I think it was the following week, but it might have been when it happened. It might have been how I got my hernia.
Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me.
You know what though, as a therapist, like how they say doctors are the worst patients, I totally get that because I might be doing the same thing sometimes, yeah.
So you're like the contractor that like there's a contractor that does great job, wonderful work at everyone else's house, but then you go to his house, it's like destroyed. Yeah, the kitchen's been like half renovated for 3 years.
To a certain extent, like, the gym is like your playground, right? So that's what it is for me. So sometimes you want to have fun and you want to go for it, right?
Yeah.
You got to be smart and learn from that experience and be like, shouldn't do that again. But
we've just done so many dumb things, like the two of us. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So
we've been working out together for a long time. So I've seen and done some things with Nick that people in the gym should do.
Did you ever share on this podcast, speaking of dumb things,
of
your bike ride? Because everyone should know what you did. Have you been on the podcast and shared that before?
I think I shared going up to it, but not
not after. Okay, can you share with everyone what you did? Because it's actually incredible. Like it like no word of a lie.
Yeah,
it's flipping incredible. Now it almost killed you, but it's incredible.
Literally almost.
So share what you did.
I rode one of those exercise bikes. It's called the Rogue Echo bike. Looks like an assault bike, handles and pedals.
Yeah,
together.
so like an Airdyne for people. Yeah.
Yeah, I rode it for 12 hours straight at 59 RPM for 7,000 calories over 400 kilometers.
Yeah, for 12 hours. Like that's incredible.
I remember I was on the same one that he was on in the gym, and Dan comes up to me and he's like, "Keep going. A little more. And I got to that, whatever.
Got to 59.
59. He's like, I did that for 12 hours.
No,
I
I know.
walked away. I was like, oh my God.
It's crazy.
It is. Yeah.
That is, and you did it for charity, which is cool. There was your brother's got a charity in Haiti that, right? And I mean, that's
we
awesome.
raised money. Yeah. We raised enough money to keep it going for 2 years. So it just took 2 years of my life away from me. That's all.
Well, it did, but so give everyone kind of an example, because it was amazing. Like the next day, remember I was talking to you and I saw you at the gym and you're like, yeah, I don't know, feel pretty good. I'm like, yeah, you seem to be handling it pretty well. I know your butt hurt from the seat.
Yeah. So that was the Saturday. The Sunday I didn't go in the gym, but on the Monday I did go in. My sit bones were like bruised. So that was rough. Overall though, and I read about this. I did a lot of research on like ultra endurance runners, bikers, that kind of stuff. And they all said like, you're going to feel good for like right after it. You're going to want to do stuff over the next couple months. Like you should give yourself 6 months. And I'm like,
oh really?
Yeah. I always thought I was different, but I'm not.
Yeah. Cause
I didn't feel too bad. Besides this, I think your body's in a state of like trauma. So you're like almost in survival mode.
Well, that's like the equivalent of like an ultra endurance race.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, when you go like 12 plus hours.
7,000 calories is like
it's
that's
absurd. Over 400
yeah.
kilometers is crazy, and I think the thing that's different about it than like say if you were did an ultra endurance like outdoor bike ride is that your arms are going for 12 hours straight. So I didn't even take into account how much. I don't know, my shoulders,
your shoulders, your back, your chest,
hands,
everything. Yeah,
my hands hurt. Because none of the ultra endurance events that I've seen have like an upper body component to them.
They're just running or
They're
cycling.
typically running or cycling. So I don't know. It was, I was in some type of way, but then I was feeling all right and I was in crazy shape. That's the other hard part is like cardiovascularly, I could do I felt like I could do anything. And the CrossFit Open was coming up and I'm like, oh, I'm going
to be amazing. I'm going to kill this. Yeah.
So I was doing like the first workout and I did something to my back, but my back didn't recover for, I don't know if it's recovered. Yeah.
But your hormone, like now looking back, you can see your hormone levels. Cortisol got shot. Yeah.
Super high. Testosterone went down pretty low. Those have balanced out. I have like normal, or even a little bit above average now for the testosterone. Cortisol is normal. Like I saw my naturopath last week, and she's like, "This is the best your blood's looked in a long time."
Yeah, that's
so. We're like in the, and I spilled 200-degree water on my leg this morning. Yeah. I have a different issue.
Yeah.
What did you do like right after
the bike?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I sat there. I still remember this vividly. Everybody's like,
and cried.
Yeah, well, everybody was like so. They're like, oh, "This is amazing," Everybody, people had tears in their eyes. I had no emotion. I had nothing left. I sat on a chair, and people were like congratulating me, and I was like blank faced, and all I thought is like, "What did I do?"
How many hours did you sleep that night?
I didn't sleep well, like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
so
just like,
your body's just
and I just wanted to get up and eat. No, I ate like you have to. If you don't eat enough carbohydrate and salt, then something will happen called bonking. Again, I've like researched this and I practiced it, like the nutrition side of it and everything. So I ate a lot that day. Like I was like every 20 minutes I was ingesting some type of carb solution or a gel or a drink and salt, and so I had it down. Like the thing is, the actual ride itself, I don't think it could have gone better. Like I literally, like, there's not a lot of things I've done in my life where I'm like, I nailed it. I did every part of this ride exactly how I wanted to do it. And the only thing that went wrong is at the 9-hour point, something I couldn't calculate was that my sit bones would start to hurt so much that I couldn't sit. Mm-hmm. But I had Dave Hainish there with me. So one of our members, he's like a endurance freak. So he like does velodrome racing and Ironmans, and he competed in the world championships for Ironmans and stuff. And I looked at him because he was riding one of his stationary bike things beside me. And I'm like, I can't sit down because it was like, you know, when you feel pain, it's in your brain, like in your brain.
You're just thinking
like,
about
I can't literally sit down. And he just tossed me this gel and he's like, put it under your pants, like put it in there. So I took a handful of this gel and I just like stuck it up in my sit bones and I didn't feel anything for the next like 12 hours.
Just numbed them?
Everything. I mean, everything.
He is. Dave's a bit of an animal with those types of things, man. He really is.
So that kind of saved the last 3 hours for me. Otherwise, I'd been biking trying to stand up, which would have not.
That would have been
possible.
terrible. Yeah.
So
right.
That's kind of the stupidity that we're talking about.
All right. Well, look, the reason I asked you guys in, I want to see what you guys were up to. First, I want to talk about what you're doing with kids because that's a little bit of a different approach. But I want to ask you guys what you're seeing right now, the beginning of the new year with people. Are you seeing any trends with people coming in? So, Mike, like yourself, I know from the gym type of stuff is probably a bit more of a common answer. Mm-hmm. But on yourself, with your side of things as a therapist, do you get a little bit of that from the start of the year, or that doesn't really impact you? You wait for them to go to the gym first, injure themselves, and then they come to you in like February and March.
Yeah, we get it later.
Really? So you see that? You see people that start, and why do they come to you afterwards? Because they make these goals or something, and they just come out too hot too fast?
Usually people are very good at living with pain, right? There's like creams, there's pills that you could take for pain. People come to us when, the pain stops them from doing something that they like, right? So whether it's like the golf game with their buddies, every week, and they're like, shit, my knee's killing me. I could deal with that. But as soon as that knee pain stops them from doing something that they really like the golf, maybe they get into CrossFit and they can't, go to the gym anymore. That's when they come see us.
They hurt their shoulders. That's the CrossFit thing.
That's the CrossFit thing, right?
Or hip.
What athletic therapist, can you kind of differentiate that? Like, how does that differentiate from there's registered like RMT, registered massage therapist, a physio? Like, where does the athletic therapist fit into that?
So I think the closest profession would be physio.
Okay.
That we're associated with. So physio, when physios go to school, they learn the orthopedic type of treatments, which is muscles, bones, joints, that type of thing.
Yeah.
They also have stints in cardiac rehab. So like if you've had any type of cardiac procedure, they're more in the hospital setting. Respiratory as well. So like COPD, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Spinal cord injuries. So they have all these different areas of focus. Most commonly, they'll go into orthopedics, which is, your back pain, your neck pain, right?
Okay.
For athletic therapists, we only deal with the orthopedic stuff. And, we also have the emergency care side of things too. So if like a person goes, like if you're watching the Raptors and, someone goes out on, like someone goes down with an injury, the person running out onto the court, that's an athletic therapist. And they're determining, okay, they're doing like a mini assessment, right? And they're saying, can this person continue the sport? Do they have to, get checked out in the locker room or get x-rayed or whatever? Can we tape them up and, kind of send them out and to finish the game? Or, are they done? Right. So those are the two differences. But really, with all these professions, whether it's physio, chiro, massage, it really comes down to the philosophy of the therapist, right? Our philosophy is it's rooted in movement, right? So it's not passive care in the sense of like, we'll just put you on a machine and just forget about that. It's taking a look at the person overall and making sure that they move well so that they can perform better.
Yeah. The biggest thing that because I've had good experience with athletic therapists. I'm like a big fan of athletic therapists. They've always seemed to, for whatever I've done to myself, they've seemed to have the right solution the majority of the time. Not everyone's perfect. Sometimes I've got things from someone else, but they've overall overwhelmingly positive. And the one thing that I feel like, and I know this will depend on the practitioner as well, but the active release from the athletic therapists that I got have always been more effective than I've gotten from other places. Is that just because of the type of injury I have, or do you guys focus on that more, like active release therapies? Am I using the right term?
Yeah. Can I put in one other thing? I think athletic therapists are also less likely to tell you to stop doing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Things. Physios will be like, oh, like you hurt your back deadlifting, never deadlift again. And it's like,
got it.
Well, that's not the
maybe
right.
fix what's actually happening.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think that's where I learned that. I
believe movement like movement is healing. And I
Yeah.
think Mike would agree. So if
Absolutely.
you try to shut somebody down completely, all right, you're going to shut them down from deadlifting because it hurts their back. What happens when they go to pick up their groceries off the ground, which is like a deadlift? They're just going to keep hurting them.
Yeah, you don't have to deadlift
Right?
500 pounds, but
Yeah.
you learn to
You
do
learn to
that
do it
movement.
properly.
Yeah.
Or
So
if
I
you-
think ATs or I don't want to completely generalize.
No. Look,
It's practitioner specific.
Yeah, every industry's got
Yeah.
great practitioners and poor practitioners
Yeah.
across the board. It doesn't matter if it's real estate, gym owners, athletic therapists across the board. I think we can safely say that and then comment, accordingly,
Yeah.
right?
So I just think ATs are usually better with like get back to play.
And I think maybe that comes down to like our work with teams, right? So there's those two components. There's the clinical component where you come in to see, someone like myself for your shoulder pain or whatever, and we do like that full assessment and everything's in the clinic. But then there's that other component of working with the teams. And when you're working with teams, especially at the pro level, where these, athletes are getting paid millions of dollars, like that's an asset to that organization. They want them on the court or field or ice or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
like
got it.
quickly, right? So you have to come up with strategy. You can't tell them to take 6 weeks off and do, nothing. Like that, if they're not on the ice for, 6 weeks, they're doing every single thing that they can possibly do to get back.
Uh-huh.
And that's, I think, the disconnect with like the general population. The general population maybe would think, hey, I got to like completely don't deadlift at all, right? But there's like so much things that you could be doing to, to get back to that deadlift.
But
or that
it's
sport or
also
whatever.
like, to me, it's also like a mindset. Like imagine what kind of mindset you're setting yourself up for. If it's like, if something doesn't work, just cut it out.
Just don't do it. Yeah.
It's a horrible mindset.
Especially if it's something that isn't a natural movement, it's one thing, but it's like if you can't squat, so then don't squat, because it's like it hurts. Well,
Yeah.
maybe you should figure out a way, like
Why?
if there's something, exactly.
Yeah.
If there's something preventing you, can you fix what's preventing you so you can do that? Because it is a natural human movement well into your old age as well. You should be able to kind of
Get
have a full
on
squat.
and off
right?
the toilet.
That's the frustrating part, right? Is like, especially now when you get into like the older age people, right? It's like, what does society tell them to do? It's like, oh, you're retired now. You should slow down, take it easy. Don't go as hard. It's like, no, you have all the time in the world. Maybe you should like pick up CrossFit or something, or really work on those skills that you need for the rest of your life, like squatting, deadlifting.
I'll never forget the first time that, and I think I've shared this before, but when I realized that I couldn't squat properly. And it was after when I had my first daughter. I remember where I was. I was in the kitchen of our old house, and she was playing on the ground just with, I forget what she was playing with. And she was in a squat, right? A full squat. She's sitting there forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm going to play with her like that too. So I got into a squat and I tried to play with her, and I lasted 20 seconds. I was in pain. I was like, oh my God, like how can she do that? And I'd never forget thinking, I'm like, oh my God, that's like a natural human position that you're supposed to be able to sit in a squat. And I can't do that. I'm like, and then I just looked at him. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. Like, I don't know at that point I didn't understand. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's something wrong that I can't do that. I need to be able to understand what that is and fix it.
Well, we like, I'm sure Mike can attest to this, but we see it in 10-year-olds now.
Yeah.
Can't squat.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
It's like earlier and earlier now.
Even
Yeah.
younger. 9. I've seen 9.
But
I've trained
why?
so many kids now. They just don't do it. They sit at computers. They sit playing video games. They sit at school. They sit everywhere. And then 1 hour, a couple times a week, they go to baseball or hockey. They're still not sitting in a squat there either.
Yeah, they're not. Those sports won't have you do that, right?
And then when they grow and their mobility isn't keeping up with their growth, it just gets worse. I've seen like really, really bad.
Wow, I'm
8 years
surprised.
old is kind of where I can get a lot, like a majority of them to still do it well and then teach them. But like 9, I start to see it at 9, 10, and then 11. If they haven't done it, it's like reteaching a whole bunch of stuff.
So what are you guys seeing with kids? Do you see the same types of trends with kids at this time of year, where like things kind of, because what I wanted to ask you, it seems like there's more. It definitely feels to me, and maybe I notice them more, like there's more either athletic therapy or physio or some of those types of clinics around now than there used to be. It also seems like there's more of these, I don't know what you call them. You could call them a gym. I don't really think they're a gym. Like I don't even look at Radix like a gym. To me, it's something beyond that because the stereotype of this gym is something that I feel like is not all as encompassing the way Radix is. But then there's these like training institutes, even for kids, or performance institutes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
there's this growing field. Like, why are you guys, what's the focus with kids? Where did that come about? What's going on with that?
Yeah, for me, it's just been a progression with my son. So he started training when he's 3 years old. As in, his son's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin him.
But yeah.
He's either gonna be the best fitness ever, or his body's gonna be destroyed.
Yeah,
We're not sure yet.
so
The jury's out.
We're trying to figure it out. But yeah, he was always happy to be in the gym with us, and he would like throw a PVC pipe on his back and squat with me like at 3. But now he's playing higher level sports. And I also been training my nephew's team. He's a bit older, a couple of years older, but you start to just kind of try to figure out what's the best way for these kids to develop and grow, and you just deep dive into
what's different with the kids that you've been doing versus, I'm not going to say like a 50-year-old, because it's different obviously, but versus even like a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, like what's the difference with the younger kids?
Not much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Functional movement patterns. So, but obviously we don't load them like I would a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
But they should squat. They should be able to hinge or like pick something up off the ground. They can lunge. They should be able to jump. They should be able to climb. They should do stuff. So if I'm talking about a 20-year-old, then you can get a little more sports specific with the movements. If they're playing a high level sport. With the kids, we stay more away from the sport specific stuff, because you want to build an overall base of strength and movement as they're young.
So it doesn't matter if a baseball team's coming in to see you versus a soccer team, football team.
It just depends on age.
Okay.
So if you had like an 8-year-old baseball team and hockey team, it'd look very similar. If anything, I personally believe that those sports are played so often at a young age now that they're already developing issues, because they're becoming so specialized that just doing the basic stuff will help kind of unwind some of that. Like kids playing hockey, their hips, it's like almost guaranteed if you're playing hockey all year round, your hips are going to have issues.
Because they're so tight from skating?
Well, it's just the way the skating pattern works. It creates that impingement in the hip. And then by the time, like, I think the study I read or listened to the podcast of the study I was listening to, by the time they're like high-level hockey players, by the time they're 14, 15, like 70% of them have this hip impingement happening, which later on is going to cause some type of surgery to happen or whatever, because the way the bone's growing and being used.
So, and then you see that type of thing, Mike?
Yeah. So on our end, it's, we see a lot of these overuse injuries happen earlier and earlier. And if you think about how sports has changed, right? Like there's no off season anymore. There's no cross training. There's no like, hey, you play, soccer in the summer and then, like hockey in the winter. It's like, if you're in hockey, you're in hockey 365, right? You're getting skating coaches and whatever, shooting coaches and all that, right?
So even the off season you play, like that's when they play 3-on-3, or they do those other things, or the skills camps and that type of stuff.
They power skate multiple times a week.
Yeah.
So it's just repetition, and those repetition, like injuries that you would see normally maybe in like 20-year-olds, you're now seeing them in like 12-year-olds,
really?
11-year-olds. Oh yeah. And it happened pretty quick, right? Like it's that shift happened.
Social media.
Yeah,
this is
the highlight reels.
Well, but I'm just trying to think when I was a kid.
I've seen some 7-year-olds play hockey. Insane. Like this kid is unbelievable.
So they're great, but it's nonstop. Right?
Yeah. Well, I keep hearing about this team out of Detroit. It's an ex-NHLer is the coach, and then he's got 2 of his boys on this 9-year-old team, and one of the boys is 7, and apparently he's better than all of them. But they're the best 9-year-old hockey team in North America, and they just beat all the other best teams in North America by like 10-1.
Yeah.
But he's got the ice rented out 2 hours a day, every day of the week, and the team can come whenever they want. So these boys just can play. And
let's be honest, if you're playing on a team like that, you can come whenever you want, but you better be coming. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not really whenever you want.
If you want to keep up.
Yeah. If you want to still be on the team, yeah.
The question then just becomes, do you want to be the best 9-year-old hockey player ever who makes $0? Or do you want to be the best hockey player ever who's actually makes a living out of doing it? Because I don't think there's got to be a war of attrition happening. At some point, something is going to give. Unless you're there's a Nolan Ryans. There's those genetic outliers.
Sure.
One out of, and Nolan Ryan never injured and threw more pitches than any pitcher ever and struck out more, and we're talking about overhead motion that destroys most people, and most professional pitchers end up with Tommy John or a couple Tommy Johns, whatever. And he never did any of that. And he pitched more than, so you have your genetic outliers who God built his arm to strike out people. But besides that, it's a war of attrition. Like, how long can they last?
Yeah. So the idea then with what, Mike, yours is recovery for sure, or injury, or coming back from injury, or maintenance, really.
Or identifying imbalances and building a mobility program or an accessory program.
So that's what I was going to ask. So like the training aspect of it, when you have these teams coming in, is the idea then, so let's say a hockey team comes in. Mm-hmm. So is the idea then to give them some training in the movements that they don't regularly do, because it should actually help anyways, because it gives you full all around strength and then, and mobility and that type of stuff. Because so you don't would you focus on explosive movements for better skating, or would you focus more on a different approach to try to give them a more well-rounded kind of strength base?
Yeah, 100%. You have to start with building the foundation. So the bigger the strength foundation, then the higher you can build the building, pretty much. So if a kid comes in and he's power skating 4 times a week and playing how many games practices, and then I'm like, hey, we're going to do skater jumps, which is like a plyometric skate movement so that you can skate even harder.
Yeah, it's just
we're just like putting more on top of a burning building. But if we can build a better foundation of strength through a squat and through a hinge movements, and then he's got stronger hamstrings, glutes, quads, then he can kind of bulletproof himself from all that extra work that's going on. And then we see it now because we've done these force plate assessments together with a bunch of teams that I train. We've seen some incredible athletes, and we're talking like some of I train some.
So force plates, just before everyone, so everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mike can give you the super technical.
Yeah, so basically there are these metal plates that you stand on, and those plates will measure like thousands of data points. So you'll do exercises like squats, jumping, landing, all these different things, even like isometric movements to test your hamstring strength and all that. And it picks all this stuff up. So it measures any imbalances. It measures like how much force you're putting in from one foot versus the other. Impact.
Balance too, right? Because it'll measure how much your foot's shaking. That type of stuff, right?
So then, like the typical model that we have is in healthcare is very reactive, right? So you get an injury, that stops you from doing something you like. You go see someone like myself, and then we fix it or whatever. From the medical standpoint of like doctors, same thing, right, with diseases. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to prevent as much stuff from happening as possible. So that's where we use these plates. And when the athlete or the person's on the plates, we're also watching how they're moving, right? So we're watching their squat. We're watching, does their knee collapse? Does their arch collapse? And then it's just about pattern recognition. It's like, okay, well, if this kid is, a basketball player, and they're jumping and they're landing like hundreds of times per week, right? Maybe thousands. Mm-hmm. Like, what is that knee collapse and that arch collapse going to do in the long run?
Yeah, gotcha.
Right? So instead of this kid coming to us and being like, oh, my knee hurts, right? We're going to look at that kid and say, hey, like, this is how you're moving and it's not optimal. Let's change that. So that's where we work with them with, just movement, right? Making the movement more efficient. And then, Dan basically builds on top of that and then makes them more resilient to injuries, right?
And you agree with that approach?
We just start, it's, there's all kinds of movement assessments. This one has seemed to be the best because there's so many. Like, it's one thing if I tell a parent, like, listen, when your son jumps, his left knee goes valgus every time his arch is collapsing and his knee's going to blow out in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, okay, whatever. We show them like this force plate assessment of like, look how much more power he's pushing out of the one leg and look what we're seeing. And they're more bought into the process.
Yeah, it helps to have the numbers.
Objective.
Measures, right? It's objective. Yeah, objective measures. It's not just me telling them one ear out the other. Like, just make my son stronger. So that's been a really cool way to approach the whole situation is like, look, this is our testing. We're gonna work on it. Then we're gonna reassess and test again. Are we making a difference? Is he having less knee pain, or, and we're working with like one of the baseball teams I'm training. Like, we're talking about some of the best 13-year-old baseball players in the country, and these kids are stupid athletic. And then you see how
I thought you were going to say these kids are stupid.
No, like they're like crazy athletic. Like, you can ask Mike. There's like one of the boys, we even test grip strength and stuff. His grip strength was higher than all the coaches, like grown men. He's 13 years old, right? So like there's some of these kids are like, they're freaks, but at the same time, every time he jumps, his knee's collapsing and he's complaining about knee pain.
Oh, he is complaining about knee pain.
Yeah, like 2 of them are already having knee pain because of...
Man, at 13, like, unless you have an acute injury, you shouldn't have knee pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all over you stuff.
So, yeah. So they play, 2 of the boys play that high level of baseball, and they play like Team Canada basketball. So they jump. And then on top of that, they were throwing in like, oh yeah, I'm playing on the volleyball team at school because I'm like, obviously I can jump all over everybody. So then they're jumping a million other times for volleyball, and in a bad pattern over and over and over and over and over.
Hey everyone, before we dive back into the podcast, I've got a quick shout out about the Your Life, Your Terms report. This is Tom's weekly newsletter where he and Nick share real stories, experiences, and powerful insights to help you live life on your terms. Each week, Tom breaks down the economy, real estate, macro trends, and Bitcoin, and gives you actionable steps to make these insights work for you. No fluff, no vague predictions, just a clear path to thriving no matter what's going on in the world. Tens of thousands of Canadians are already getting the real information they need to level up their lives every week. I can honestly say it's the only newsletter that I've stayed subscribed to for years. It delivers real value that keeps me coming back for more. Join us and start getting the insights and tools to create the life you want, plus entertaining and inspiring stories from Tom and Nick along the way. Sign up for free at rockstarinnercircle.com/get-started and start living life on your terms. That's rockstarinnercircle.com/get-started. Your first step to living life on your terms.
They're like me. They like to overtrain.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I know. Sounds like they're doing things right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like our process now has been like, if I'm just getting, you have to educate coaches, parents, like, hey, it's extra money, yeah, but we're going to have all these data points we can work with, and then not only help the kid get stronger, more powerful, all those things you want to see on the court. We're going to make him more resilient in his movement patterns. You teach him how to jump. So when he's jumping, he's doing it properly, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So
A basketball coach does not care how you jump. If you jump higher than
yeah, that's true.
if you can dunk the ball or whatever, they're happy. You're scoring points, they're happy. So like, and I'm not saying this against all coaches, but they just don't know. They're not looking for that. They're looking for
Well, no, they're just looking for performance.
Yeah.
They're looking. They might be looking at shot mechanics, whereas
Yeah.
no one's worried about that, right? Or you guys aren't looking at shot mechanics. You're just like looking at what's the knees doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's got to be like, are people coming to you, Mike, for preventative stuff for kids? Because that's got to be like who's going to, like, do you even do preventative stuff? Do you work with kids to preventive, or is it only when they have injuries?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what do you do? So like in this example, this kid's no one's got knee pain yet, or a little bit. Like how do you work with them?
Yeah, we have the injury risk score.
Yeah, so when we do these assessments, we get the objective numbers from the plates. We get, like it takes like 3 therapists, 3 people from my team to actually do these assessments, right?
So this you're looking at those numbers. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Want to hear the rest, but you're looking for one thing. You're looking for sure is strengthening balances from right to left, right?
Yes.
What else?
How much force they could develop, right? So you could also measure like the percentile of like, for their age and weight.
So force, like you measure they'll jump, and it measures how much force they're generating from that
the
jump.
Vertical jump, right? All of that.
But that doesn't tell them if they're at risk of injury, does it?
No, but that's why it takes 3 therapists, right? So one person's working the computer and the force plates.
Okay.
Another person's explaining, hey, these are the exercises that we're going to be doing. This is how to do them. And then there's a third person that's just, sitting there and taking notes on how this athlete's moving. So that's where they'll identify, hey, that's the knees collapsing. So afterwards we go home, we take all that data from the force plates and the notes, from our team of how they're moving. And then each kid gets an individualized report saying, here's how, this athlete's moving. here are, the top 3 things that I would work on for this athlete from an injury prevention standpoint, and then from a performance standpoint, right? So maybe they're lacking a little bit in like power development, right? And, they have aspirations to be, to go further into baseball or basketball or whatever it is, right? So then it tells those parents like, hey, you need to increase that. It also, helps Dan as well. So then Dan can create a custom program for them too, right? So yeah, that's the way that we do it. And like, we would rather work on the injury prevention stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's tied together, the injury prevention and the performance. They're not separate, right?
It seems like this
kids can like compensate so well, and they're so athletic they can get away with it. But then how long do they get away with it for until they're, something goes, your Achilles or whatever?
It kind of blows me away because this seems like a really growing area. Like this kid's sports has taken on this whole other world. Like it's, when I was a kid, first you didn't have as many options even to play like as many leagues and different things. There were some politics involved if you move teams and stuff like that. But now if you move from one organization to another one, to if you're a soccer player, a hockey player, baseball, like whatever, it's like major politics. Like it's kind of nuts. And now there's all these training facilities. Like for me, it was just like, even now the concussions, I played football. I can tell you for sure there was a couple times I kind of got knocked around pretty good. Yeah. I was a fullback into safety. So there was some major collisions, right? And at that time, it was like, hey, get up, let's go. Yeah. Way to go.
There's no concussion.
No, there was no such
Advil.
thing. So, but it's just taken on a life of its own. But is it, like, from what you guys are seeing, is it the kids, is it social media, or not just social media, but is the kids pushing for this type of stuff and they just want to be better, or is it the parents?
It's a combination, and I'm living in it. Sometimes I feel like I tell Rich, I'm living in this hell of whatever this is, because
some of the parents, it can be overbearing.
Some of them are insane, and then I'm dealing with them from my aspect of what I'm doing with the child, but I can't even, some of these coaches, I'm sure they go through absolute whatever with my kid's not playing in the right position, he doesn't get enough playing time, whatever it is, right? I don't know, and honestly, once your kid's involved, then it obviously becomes so much deeper, because you have a very personal interest into what's happening, and you're trying to be the right person for your child. I think the best thing that I read, I've done so much research now, because I'm I can't be that dad who, if he doesn't want to go to the gym, he's not going to the gym. He needs to want to go to the gym. He needs to want to go to practice. I'm not, you know what I mean? The health side of things, I told him, working out twice a week is something that you should do for your health for the rest of your life. So building that into his schedule is fine. He doesn't want to play baseball, then he's not going to play baseball. If he loves it, then he can do it. But it's hard when you see, and especially if you see your son he's really good at something, then it's there's so many inputs, let's work with this guy, do this, do that.
Yeah.
The schedules I've seen from parents who send me, this is what my child does on a weekly basis, I need to put 2 strength and conditioning sessions with you in, is wild. Wild. That's when I'm okay, I'm actually not that crazy, because these people are on a different level of what they're doing. When your son can go to one baseball camp after school at 4 p.m. and then take a half an hour break and then go to a second baseball camp from 7 to 9 p.m.
It's a lot.
We're talking North Korea type vibes of how
that's what I was going to ask you. It must be, for both you guys, this is a hard sell, because I think it's a hard sell to even adults to do this. Whereas you're not, everyone wants the instant results, right? So it's oh no, hold on. Here's what we're going to do. There's a lot of people must be coming to you saying, well, no, I don't want to do what you guys want to do. I don't care about this force plate shit. I want my kid to be faster and stronger. Make my kid faster and stronger.
Yeah.
That's it. I know your knee angle. Yeah. Is he faster this week versus last week?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We deal with the coaches like that and the parents like that. You know what the best advice one of the best advice Tom ever gave me was, I think it was marketing advice. He's tell them what they want to hear, and then give them what they actually need. I think that's the best advice for that kid.
Sell them what they want, give them what they need.
So
that's why you can't overcomplicate it.
Yeah,
right. Just nice and simple.
It's like, of course I'm making them stronger and faster. But what I'm doing with them, they're not an expert. They don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, because
if I got bands around their knees and they're doing monster walks because their glutes literally don't work, of course that's going to make them faster in the long run.
It's weird. It's hard for people when if you haven't seen the benefits of that, you don't really fully get it, right?
You know what the worst one is for me is when they drop off the kids and they're like, make sure he's dead when I get back. And it's like, what you want to beat the crap out of them. Like, they want to see their kid like sweating and like dying coming out the door.
Save it. Okay, we got an hour. 1,000 burpees. Go. Start now.
Well, that's the thing is like, I could run your kid in circles until he can't breathe anymore and he's sweating and he's crying and give him back to you. And you're going to think like, oh yeah, you got a great workout. In reality, what was the adaptation that actually happened? He like hates being in the gym. That's the adaptation that you're going to see, right?
Yeah.
That's not how performance works either, though. If you like, for instance, if you want to get stronger, then you're going to rest like 3 to 5 minutes between sets, right? You're not going to leave the gym being like soaked in sweat if you want to get stronger.
Yeah.
That's the adaptation process. You lift heavy, you rest, you repeat. You leave there, your nervous system is fried, but you don't really feel that. You feel a little bit tired, but if I just try to do like a 95% back squat for 2 reps every minute on the minute for like 10, it's not gonna, you're just going to fail and hurt yourself.
Nick's right? Like next week's workout.
No, it's just interesting. I wouldn't like fully understand that. Just over the years, just seeing people in different disciplines come in and do different types of workouts or work on different things for themselves. It's like, the runners will come in and like runners might start at a CrossFit class and there's certain workouts that they have flipping gas tanks. These guys, like as a runner, they can just go forever. Like it's incredible. But then you put some weight in front of them and all of a sudden like they crash and burn pretty hard. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing against them. It's just like it's just the different disciplines. And when you see that a few times over and over and you're like, oh, you get it. Just like a weightlifter who's like can power through heavy weights, but if you even have to do like a medium weight, and for them whatever that is, and they have to do reps of it in like a kind of like a conditioning workout, they just can't keep up with it. Yeah. So just everyone's got these different disciplines, and when you see it, then you kind of understand that. But if you come from a world that everyone's busy doing their whatever they focus on every day, and you don't understand that, it's sometimes it's hard to get through. Yeah. It's just like going to an athletic therapist. They're like, oh well, what are you really doing? Like for preventative stuff, like what do you do with someone, to help them out? Because you're probably, some people are like leaving saying, well, I don't know, I didn't really pressed here, moved this, and like I don't know, did it do anything or not?
Well, we're coaches. Right. So you prevent injuries by improving the efficiency of their movement. Right. So
that's good. Like
the hands-on skills are important, and they're very tough to hone in on. Right. But it's the observation, it's the pattern recognition. It's the, like, as soon as the person walks through the door, like I'm already assessing them. Are they having a good day? Are they having a bad day? Are they walking better than when I saw them last time? Right. And oftentimes, like, the assessment it's not a standardized like textbook, here's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it might completely change based on like a little thing that I see where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to dig deeper on that.
It is amazing to me how you guys can do that, because like, I'll walk in someplace and someone will be like, oh yeah, like, how's your back doing? Because I've had some tight hips affecting my back, and they're like, oh, I can see you're like hunched over walking. I'm like, what? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, you're like forward a little bit. I'm like, what the hell? How do you see that? Like, what are you talking about? So it is amazing that when someone knows what to look for, you can kind of see and then work on those things, because like I might be walking around not even realizing that I'm compensating for something, because my body will naturally compensate, versus then having fix it so that it can do right. And then, like you're saying, that the chance for injury just increases because your body's going to naturally compensate. And then if you're not doing things the correct way because you're compensating, it just leads to further things down the road.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And you have to keep digging into that investigation. Like sometimes someone's like shoulder might hurt because maybe they're doing something in the gym. Right. So the great thing about, like training at dance places is that like I get to see my clients actually lift weight. And then I could go up to them and be like, hey, like, you know, let's try this. So I'll do like impromptu assessments just at the gym. Right. And, or sometimes it might be like something that they're doing at home. So you have to really poke and prod, being like, oh no, it's like, what are you doing at work? Like, what's your desk setup like? Like, take me through it. Show me, mimic it.
Yeah.
Right. And then like you might stumble upon something and they're like, oh fuck, like I didn't think of that. Right.
What's the most common thing you're seeing people come to you for within like adults? Because you're talking about desk setup. I'm thinking about office work and that type of stuff. What's the most common thing that you see that it kind of impacts people? I'd imagine it's shoulders and hips, but I don't know.
Backs for sure. So backs.
Is the back caused by? Are backs most commonly caused by something specific, or is it just back pain in general?
Everybody's different. Sitting has a lot to do with it. Like the desk setup, for example, right? Like if you're sitting and, you know, you're leaned over on one side, or, you know, you cross one leg over and not the other, right? Again, it's just movement pattern.
It just twists you a little bit.
Right? Maybe you have lack of movement, right? You're just, you know, going from, you know, your car to the office, sitting at the office for like 8-9 hours a day, going back into your car, you know, do the commute. And then,
you know what? That's probably one of the biggest things I think people overlook, just lack of movement. Because I know just for myself, even if I, you know, the days that I take off, I don't take a full day off, like physical activity. And the reason why is I actually feel worse. My body feels worse if I do. I might just walk or a light cycle or something, but I need to move. And I feel like once you're used to moving and your body's used to moving, then it's no different than when you fix your diet and you're like, oh my God. So like when I eat this stuff, I feel good. And when I eat this other stuff, I'm kind of bloated. I feel kind of crappy. It's like, once you realize that moving makes you feel good, you can't not move. You know, like
Absolutely.
That's like the biggest thing I find, like people just overlook, like simple stuff like that.
And like even going back to the kids, like example, right, of like when their movement patterns start breaking down, it's actually grade 1. And what happens in grade 1 is sitting, right? So like, you know, like your daughter, like sitting in that perfect squat position, that starts to break down in grade 1 because you're like basically at 90 degrees, right? All the time. You're never in that deep squat anymore, or you start to lessen it, right? After grade 1. And then, you know, you just never pick it back up.
Why do we make kids at that age sit at desks, sit in a classroom for that many hours? It doesn't seem like it makes sense. It doesn't seem the best way for kids to learn. Okay, so now you're this age. So like, you know, a month or 2 months ago, previous to the summer, you could learn like this. But now 2 months have gone by. Yeah, so still. Here's how you learn now. This many hours, sit at the desk. Yeah. It seems so crazy, no?
Yeah. I don't believe in half the stuff they do in school anymore anyways.
Well, that's why when my daughter's like, hey, Dad, like, you know, we should do a ski day. I'm like, perfect. Let's go tomorrow. And my wife she got a math test tomorrow. I'm like, no problem. We're going to go skiing. She'll do it Tuesday. I don't know, but I'm just like, you know what? Who can, what's the big deal? I mean, but you know, this daughter's in grade 6. I'm like, not doing the math test on Monday and doing it on Tuesday. Zero consequence, you know. And if it was a different subject, there's some of them that are like, you know what? If she doesn't do it at all, I don't care. Yeah. So I know. So there's some people out there. Yes. If you're a teacher, you think I'm a bad father. Okay, agreed. Yeah. Many people might agree with you too. A lot of people. But we went skiing and it was a lot of fun.
She'll learn a lot there too, right?
Oh yeah, it was great. Are you kidding me? Because she was like on the fence if she liked skiing or not. She's like, no, I want to try it when it's like quieter. So we went down one kind of smaller beginner hill. We went down like full size hill there. She gets to the bottom. She's like, again. Like that's the first thing she said. I'm like, this is the best, you know?
You want to know what I remember about grade 8? 3 a.m.
Punching your brother. No. He's probably
3 a.m. My dad wakes me up and he's like, you're coming, because he had all these snowplow contracts. He's like, you're coming with me. You're gonna take the shovel and do all the sidewalks of the condo buildings. So he took me. I did all the sidewalks. We had a big breakfast, gave me $20, dropped me off at school. Have a good day.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything that happened in grade 8, but I remember him doing that.
But you probably learned more doing that. My first, I want to say first job ever. I'm pretty sure this is my first job ever. I feel like it was grade 8, the Christmas break. My dad's like, okay, you're going to work. And he took me to condo. Remember, it's winter now. So
Yeah.
I was on these condo construction sites, no windows, wind blowing through, putting in insulation in like the hallway with these big flame thrower things to try to produce a little bit of heat, eating in the cold with the guys. And that was my first thing that I remember. I learned more about myself, about life, in those 2 weeks doing that. Then it wasn't even 2 weeks because there would have been like Christmas and some holidays in between. Yeah. So it's probably like 5 days. And I learned more about anything doing that than anything I could have learned in the entire school year.
That description took me back because my dad's a contractor, and I remember those flamethrower things. Like,
yeah, remember those things? Yeah. They can't have those on the construction sites anymore,
Dude,
can they? They must be the least safe things in the world.
I used to heat my garage gym like that.
Yeah, those things with the propane tank attached.
Propane tank.
And it was like, yeah.
You stand next to that thing, you'll get toasty.
Oh yeah, you were warm, and then you took 2 steps away, you're freezing again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this sucks. Yeah. But yeah, you just learn. Like that's what I mean. You just learn about other things, and I think that's why like this topic of health and stuff always blows my mind. Is because I'm like, it's so important to understand basic things. What should I lift? What should I do? New Year's, people are coming in. What are the basics? Like break it down. No, not even coming to the gym. Someone that wants to make a change, what are the top kind of 3 things that each of you would tell them? Like if someone's like, hey, look, it's probably the most common thing. Well, I want to lose weight and put on some muscle. Unless you're a female, I'm going to stereotype, but I don't want to get too bulky, right? Because we laugh, some guys that try to gain muscle, for everyone listening, we will laugh at that stereotype that women are always scared of getting too bulky because we're like, you know how flipping hard it is to gain muscle? I wish I could get bulky. It's like you're not going to, by lifting a little bit of weight will not make you bulky in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. What do you tell people when they come in?
Lift weights. Like 4 to 5 times a week.
But what's that? Like what?
Doesn't matter. I could care less as long as you're lifting weights.
So
whatever makes
use
you
10-pound dumbbells.
Yeah, if that's where it's going to start. Yep, you got to lift weights 4 to 5 times a week because that's what's gonna change your body. Yeah. Yeah, you can't I wouldn't say go unless you enjoy it. But I'd rather you lift weights 4 or 5 times a week than go running 4 or 5 times a week. Running 4 to 5 times a week is probably you're gonna end up in Mike's place.
Yep. We'll get him in a few weeks.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Too much.
Because there's something with running where like everybody thinks they could do it. And they'll just be like, all right, I'm going to go for 5 or 10K.
The low barrier to entry.
It's a low barrier. You just choose and you're gone, right? And they, like you said, they want results quick, right? So they think, well, if I do 10K every day, well, the results must come, right? But there's like a crazy amount of like mechanics and like optimal movement that you need to have for proper running. So they don't ease into it. They don't, work up to that 10K.
How would you ever learn that? Like if you run and it's not the proper mechanics, how am I ever going to learn?
Go to Mike's place, hop on the anti-gravity treadmill, and it will give you a rundown of exactly how you're running and why it's wrong.
What's the anti-gravity treadmill?
So it's basically a treadmill where your waist down, you're in this like bubble. Okay. And that bubble inflates with air and it reduces your body weight. So you can, like if you have an injury, like you just tore your ACL and you're out of surgery. We just have a guy that had a knee replacement and he's going to be walking on that, like a week after surgery.
So it lets him use it just at a percentage of his body weight.
Exactly. So you're not full weight bearing. We dropped it. Actually, he used it yesterday. We dropped it to like 50%. So now you minimize compensation.
He's a week after surgery and he's already using it even at 50%?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
But the thing is like you're not limping anymore, right? So you're working the range of motion. You're working swelling because your knee's actually moving, right?
Got it.
But you're not putting that impact where you wouldn't necessarily be able to do that at 100%. So
because you'd limp and you'd compensate, you'd maybe twist it or leaning one way. Oh.
So we're like speeding up, all the other stuff that you have to work on with that type of recovery, right?
Are those common now? Those anti-gravity treadmill things?
I have like one of the only ones in Ontario.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why'd you go out and get that?
In university, I always loved to research what pro athletes were doing for their recovery. Because in my eyes, pro athletes were like 10 years ahead, right? They had all the latest and greatest tech, right? Resources were abundant. So, all these teams would buy this stuff, right? Kobe Bryant tears his Achilles and I'm interested. I'm like, what's he doing for his rehab? And he was on like a really early version of that machine. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I've never seen anything like this. When I open my clinic, I'm going to get one. And yeah, I blew half my business loan on a treadmill.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's paid off, though. I mean, over the year, you've been around for a while. Your business is growing and stuff like that. So, do people search you out for that type of thing?
Yeah, they do actually. And because I'm like the only one that comes up, it's great.
Runners specifically, I guess, or just people after surgery and stuff?
So mostly people after surgery
Okay.
will research it, and it's usually like the keeners that want to, maybe it's like the tough surgeries or the tough recoveries, and they're looking around on, forums or whatever, however they find us. Right. And then we come up and they're like, oh, let's, so we've had like people like cancer patients, we've had people with neurological issues. We've had obviously people with like ACL tears and all that. The problem in Canada is that like, it's not really popular. Like not a lot of people have it.
Yeah.
So in our, like when I had this like super expensive machine, but I'm like, nobody knows about it. So I had to do all the marketing for it and just get people on it to kind of spread the word. And then, you could see people's like eyes light up, or like the parent that's with their kid, they're like usually taking photos, cause it's,
it does suck. You're right. Like, because you don't know what's out there. So if this is something that might help you, so like, and I was asking like selfishly for myself, because I'm not a terrible runner. I know I'm not the best runner. I'm sure I can improve my running form. And I also know, like more recently, probably in the last couple of years, my calves will just kind of just get lit up when I run a bunch. Like they just get super tight. I'm like, I wonder if it's got to be the way I'm running, because it's kind of like I'm not running so much that I shouldn't be able to handle the volume. You know what I mean? Like I mean, like if I was running 25K multiple times a week, like I get it, but I'm not, and I'm like, why are my calves getting lit up like that? And I was thinking for myself, and you don't even know how to try to figure those things out. And I'm like, oh, this is something that might be able to tell me if I'm just moving, like I can change something in the way that I run that might be able to help me, but you just don't know. And there's so many of those things out there that you just can't find in, especially in Canada. Like people don't talk about it. Like it's just not even, because it's in this, this healthcare world, everyone just assumes it's like family doctor or hospital if it's more urgent. And it drives me off the flipping wall, because like I know there's a cost to these things, but that's welcome to our healthcare system. And there's no, I guess a lot of your stuff, some of the stuff might be covered after surgery for recovery, but if it's preventative stuff, there's just no coverage for that. Like you got to go pay for it. But if you want to try to be proactive about your health, eat it. Like that. It's just, it's the reality. Like you got to eat the cost. You know what I mean? You like the socialist system of healthcare? Well, great. If you like it, you got to pay for preventative stuff because it covers nothing. No?
So the problem is,
I agree with you.
So the problem is like,
do you get comments on these videos?
Well, I mean, it's the real.
I just want to read them.
What's no preventative anything? Our healthcare system's shit. The reason why it's shit. No, the reason why I was going to say it's shit for preventative stuff. It's absolute 100% shit.
Yeah.
For that.
Even the other stuff, I ended up like getting paying for Medcan last year just to get everything done I wanted to get done.
Well, and I just went
expedited.
And that, to me, that's what, and sorry, Michael, come back to that question, but that's what I feel like an actual physical should be. But the physicals you get at the doctor's office, they're compared to what they should be, they're an absolute flipping joke.
Yeah.
Height and weight.
Yeah.
But the
cholesterol.
Yeah. Part of the physical should be, hey, can you get into a full squat?
Do you know what the
and
worst
sit there
part
for
of
even
that?
10 seconds.
Like
Like
cholesterol's high, and then one of your nutrition clients comes to the gym and is like, you got to cut me off eggs. And I'm like, oh my.
Yeah. I know. Because it's such old school. Yeah, it's such old school thinking.
Those are doctors now. How do we not have any, like, these guys have no, like, background in nutrition at all, that they immediately go to that?
They get a few hours in med school.
And then why are you giving advice on it? You should not be giving advice on it.
Do you know how many people
don't know
that that doctors have told them not to eat red meat that have spoken to me? I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Okay. I'm like, I'm not even going to talk to you, but like, I'm not even going there. Yeah. I was so happy that when the US, and some people are going to hate that because they're like, well, that's, RFK, he's the devil, like him and Trump, they're the worst. Okay, whatever. Put your emotions aside, but they just changed their food pyramid, finally saying, hey, focus on good sources of protein, animal protein too.
Yeah.
Whereas our in Canada says, focus on the plant-based protein. I got to tell you something. Plant-based protein, a lot of it is pure garbage.
But also when they did all those studies on protein powders and lead, where was all the lead?
Yeah.
It's in the pea protein.
Have you ever had pea protein before?
Yeah, I've tried it. It's disgusting.
Okay, so pea protein is this one thing that my stomach rejects in a massive, pain.
Yeah.
And I because Starbucks used to have these, the first time I tried it, Starbucks used to have these protein shakes. This was years ago. And there was, I guess it was whey in it. I don't know. Even whey is not great for me, but I can handle a little bit of whey.
Yeah.
And then one day they switched it and it was like to the vegan protein and it'd be in this pea protein. My God.
Almost killed you. Eh?
Yeah. Even like protein bars and stuff like that. If they're made with pea protein, it's not even a ton in it. I get pain after. Like I can't, I'm like, so like my barometer is just my body. So if I eat something and I get stomach pain, I'm like, oh, you know what's not good for me? That's not good for me. Like it's like pretty clear signal, right?
Well, it's amazing how like we've lost that ability to even have any intuition into what our body's doing. You know what I mean? Like
because if you eat donuts and fast food every day, then your body's like feels like crap all the time.
Yeah, you're in a constant state of like crap.
Yeah. And if someone if someone can give me some context or proof or their opinion that for preventative medicine, our health system is actually like a good thing. Yeah, share it with me.
Yeah.
But no one has ever been like, yeah, you're right. No, it's not,
It kind of sucks on the reactive front too, right? Because like what we see, so let's just take back pain for an example, right? Person goes and has this like crazy episode of back pain, where everything spasms, right? They go to emergency, they get a cocktail of medicine. That's it. They go, painkillers, muscle relaxants, and anti-inflammatories. Every single time, hands down. Yeah. Every time, right? Doesn't matter
pills.
Like the
take
intensity.
Pills. Don't figure out what's causing it. Just take the pills.
Right. On the like the hip and the knee replacements, for example, right? Not long ago, they gave you 12 sessions in the hospital, and those sessions were shit. They were just like, they give you printouts that are like from like the 90s, like these here, do these exercises, and then they kind of someone comes around at least like once, and like checks and if you're doing it properly, right? It doesn't even get to a squat or like how you're moving. So I always tell like my patients, like especially patients that have been with me for a while and they're getting like now they're like candidates for hip replacement. I'll warn them. I'll be like, listen, it's not 12 anymore, it's 6, but you're going to get those 6 sessions and I'll guarantee you're going to be bored, because we've done stuff for like the past whatever years that's way more advanced than those little like printouts, like a straight leg raise or whatever. Yeah. Right. So you don't get the one-on-one attention. You don't get, I think, proper care. Not to say that that's like whatever, the therapist in the hospital doing that, they're overworked, they don't have resources.
No, the whole the system's broken through fraud. Look, and it's not just fraud, but it's fraud and waste. Okay. And if you think the stuff, if anyone's following some of the fraudulent stuff that's been going on in the States and how this fraud's been exposed, if you think that doesn't happen in Canada, you're just kidding. And, in all sorts of communities and sectors, you're kidding yourself. Right. And then, I used to be a government employee, and I've seen in some areas the way things worked. And I'm like, wow, this is the most inefficient way to do things possible. So it's just very clear, like you're just, if you can look at the healthcare system and think that there's not waste and fraud there through a government-run healthcare system, I don't know, you're beyond help. Like you're either just lying to yourself or you're beyond help. So it's not necessarily the people working in the system. It's just the way the system is structured as a whole. It's not structured for efficiency. It's not structured for caring for people. So it's just like, hey, we have this big backlog because of the way the system's structured. We have to keep costs at a certain level. So we just got to run people through it, in and out, and then people abuse it as well. So there's all sorts of problems. So it's not even just the system, it's the people using it. It's all sorts of stuff over there. But I don't want to rant on the healthcare system too much. No, but I just mean like it's the reality.
Well, you have to take your own health and make it your own priority. I mean, you got to search out what and who's going to help you and like what that's going to look like. Otherwise, you're just left up.
No one cares about your health as much as you will.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're putting it all in someone else's hands, especially these family doctors, sometimes I wish the family doctor would say something like, you know what, I don't really know. We should go check this out, instead of always having an answer. And very often it's wrong. I'll give you an example. I took my daughter, she had some sort of rash on her legs. Family doctor saw her, gave her this cream, and the rash didn't go away. There's a walk-in dermatologist in Toronto, old guy, doesn't care, uses a learning kind of center. You normally to get a referral to a dermatologist, it's months of waiting. He's a walk-in. He's open like even on Saturday, he's open like 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. Like that's it. Yeah.
This guy's a
and he's like to kind of, give everyone an option to go.
Yeah.
We went there. He's like, oh my God, she gave you this cream. This is the worst cream. This actually feeds the thing because it was getting worse. God. So then he's like, no, it's actually this, and gave us something else. Yeah. So it's like, and I know that's just one example and it could have been a mistake, but it's like, maybe the doctor was unsure because it did seem like she was unsure. Yeah. Maybe she should have been like, I don't know.
Yeah, but why?
It's okay to not know.
Why are you throwing darts in the dark?
Yeah.
That's insane. With a child is insane.
Yeah.
You're better off saying, let's go see somebody else than just hoping whatever you gave them. And then she reacts.
Yeah, and this referral system that you got to wait months and months to go see this.
That's why I got Medcan.
So crazy.
Medcan was like, I'm in. I want to see this person, this person, this person. Okay,
it makes a difference
because I'm paying them, so they have to listen to me.
Yeah. And maybe that's the answer, right? Because like if family doctors had competition, right? Like in my building, in my office, there was a family doctor that opened up, right? And you walk in there, and I knew what I was going to get into, right? You walk in there, you just look and there's zero customer service. Like think of the patients as customers, zero. There's a bitchy receptionist sitting there, miserable, yelling at people.
This is your family doctor?
No, this is like where my office.
Can we name them?
I just want to make sure if they were listening by some sense, they were like, oh my God, I can't believe you just set that up in our office. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, it's like I look at these doctors' offices and I'm like, they don't have any shortage of customers. So they don't need to focus on customer service. They don't need to have comfortable chairs in their waiting area or a receptionist that's like, kind.
They don't need to respect your appointment time.
Yeah. No, they don't. Right?
I know. It drives me crazy. I go to the doctor's office. I'm like, look, I understand your time's important, but you know what? Mine is too. So for me to sit here for an hour when I had an appointment at 10 a.m. and it's now 11, that's a problem.
I got some kind of blood work done at the doctor's office and I wanted a printout of it to give to my naturopath, and they charged me for the photocopies. Like, she's like, how do you want to pay? I'm like, pay what? She's like, you owe me 20 cents. I'm like, are you serious? And they charged
Plus
me.
Plus the staple. You had a staple in there. So.
They should have. You're lucky to get charged for the staple.
I couldn't believe it. I was looking at her like, this is a joke. She's like, no, how do you want to pay? I'm like, I don't know. Can I charge 20 cents on my debit? Like,
use Amex.
It's going to cost me $1.50 to actually put the charge.
Make them pay the Amex fees.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's
wild. I'm like, this place is hurting if you got to charge 20 cents for that.
Yeah. Oh. And the preventative stuff, you can't even have a conversation.
No.
They're like, no, well, why would you want that? I'm like, well, I want actually like a real blood panel to see what's going on, because if there's something going on, no different than the movement patterns you're talking about. If there's something going on, I want to figure this out now.
Yeah. Imagine how much money you'd save as a system.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Well, the drug companies wouldn't save money.
That's true.
That's an issue.
Well, Dr. Caitlin Link, who runs Benchmark Proactive Health, have you heard? Oh, yeah, because you might have heard of them. So, and that's one of the reasons she left. Like, she was an emergency room doctor, and she's like, man, I saw so many things that I saw in Emerge. I was like, this can be prevented. Mm-hmm. Like, these people shouldn't have got to this point. They can be prevented, and I'm like, yeah, it's like people in the system are seeing that too. And it's harder to kind of wake up and break out from the system, for most people. But
wild.
You know what? The one thing I wanted to mention when you're talking about back pain, what I learned, and I know we're going a little bit long, but what I learned, which was amazing, Dan, you taught me this. I've learned it from athletic therapists as well. I had no idea how interconnected the body was. Like I never knew for back pain that it might not have anything to do with my back. Like the first time, like way back, it was like that I learned it was my hamstring. Like a tight hamstring was then pulling and making my back hurt. I'm like, what? It didn't like, without knowing that before, it didn't even seem like a possibility. And more recently, it's been my hip muscles being too tight and kind of pulling my back. Specifically, actually, I think it was that hernia repair.
Yeah.
I think they over tightened it there, because I remember waking up on the table and the guy was, I'm telling you, I just remember waking up and feeling like tugging.
Yanking.
And I'm like, the way they put it back together, I'm like, I swear the guy was like,
I've seen some hack jobs post-surgery. Oh my God.
So I think there's just tightness there that I keep battling. I think I'm making it better, but it's slow. It's hard to get it to kind of stretch out again and kind of like, I guess, through all the scar tissue and stuff. But you just don't realize that stuff, and no one's there to teach you. And a general practitioner probably doesn't even know, to be fair, right? And it's not even them, it's just the system. And you just don't realize kind of like what certain things with your body can be actually fixed without these pills. Like if you kind of get to the root cause of it, you can actually make a difference and not have that pain and not have to live with it.
Yeah, I went to 4 surgeons before I found a surgeon that I allowed to do my shoulder.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't do that.
No, the first guy's like, yeah, we can get you doing push-ups. I'm like, I can do push-ups right now. Like, I don't need you to push-ups, really?
Should have asked him to do a push-up.
Yeah.
That's the litmus test.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It took,
no kidding.
so I got to a guy, I was like, I want to snatch like over 250 pounds again. And he's like, yeah, I'll give you 90% chance. I'm like, sweet. Like this guy. And then he showed up to surgery, like, fresh mustache and this like bandana. I'm like, this is my guy. Like, this guy is ready to rock and roll. Then the nurse, she was like trying to, I don't know, make me feel better about going under or whatever. And she was telling me how, like, she's like a big lady, but she's like, oh, you work out, da da da. She's like, yeah, back in the day at parties, I'd pick guys up and I'd squat them at the parties. Like, this nurse is awesome. Yeah, my whole shoulder surgery was the best thing ever. Between
That's
the
great.
surgeon and this nurse, they made it so comfortable for me.
That is great.
Those are the good people in the healthcare system.
Oh, there's definitely good
There's
people.
lots
There's a
of
lot
people.
of good people. It's just, even the good people, because
stuck
I've
in a
spoken
bad
to some of them,
system.
they're stuck in a bad system and they get worn down by it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. So like if whatever, you can call it the 80-20 rule, call it 50-50, in every industry, if 50% are good, 50% are maybe less than optimal. I think the healthcare system, the 50% that are good, I think as they stay in the system longer, I think it dwindles down.
You just get worn down.
Yeah. I don't see how you can't. You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen it everywhere. It's not healthcare system. You talk to enough teachers will say they're just in this system. They're like, man, I can't do certain things. And the way they've changed certain things and the way we have to teach now, they're like, it's just, what's the point?
Yeah. That's the beauty about training kids and you have no public school board over your head. I can do what I want.
And you know what? No, but you know what? I think the biggest thing too is you're making a difference.
Yeah.
Because if I knew at that age the stuff that I could learn from you guys about my body, about movement and stuff like that, it would have seen it's a shortcut. It was a shortcut to like years of my life, and I was fortunate. I got into exercising and working out early, and I'm glad I did. But I wish I understood things a lot better than, whatever Muscle Mag taught me.
Yeah.
Well, there were I was in the gym thinking that, you can't squat below parallel. It's not good for your knees.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to blow out a knee if I squat below parallel. And then I learned afterwards, I'm like, well, that was stupid.
That was,
so.
And that's like with these kids, like, and parents, I tell them, I'm like, I'm trying to teach you guys things that are tools for life. Right.
Yeah.
So give a kid a foam roller, whatever. They're not going to do it perfectly. Just give them a foam roller, let them play around with it.
If they understand it.
And they're going to refine it. So as they go, once they're like, 10 or something, they're going to be experts at, body awareness, right? Like knowing hurt versus injured, right? Can I push through or can I, do I need to take myself out of the game or whatever,
what's
right?
tight versus something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then coaches can't like push them into playing when they're not comfortable playing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's that aspect of it too.
100%. They should, the more the kid understands, the better. And then the more the parents understand to protect the child. Because coaches want to win games.
That's fair. That's what they're focused on. That's fair. And they're not inside the kid's head. So if the kid's not very clear and the kid doesn't understand, and the coach is like, I think it's fine. You just suck it up. The kid's like, okay, I guess coach said that. But if the kid understands what's really going on, he can then tell the coach. And some coaches might still be like, I don't care, you should be playing. But some coaches might be like, oh, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Good. Let's sit you out. Let's get someone else in there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So how does anyone reach out to you guys? Clinic and Prospect Lab. Where do you guys like? Where do they check everything out?
Yeah, you can check the Prospect Lab stuff out on Prospect Lab Training on Instagram. We have everything kind of going up there. Everything is kind of happening all at once right now. And then, or you can go on their website at radixgym.com.
Yeah. For us, it's elevaterehabilitation.com and Elevate Rehabilitation on Instagram.
Okay. And then you're also in-house. So you have your own clinic and then you're also in-house at the Prospect Lab.
Yeah. So Prospect Lab is basically our first satellite clinic. So we have 2 rooms there, and then obviously we'll be able to use the turf and all that, which is really exciting because now, we can really hone in on the return to play stuff. So if there's someone, soccer coming in, we could actually do like like longer distance sprints and all that as well in the facility too. So
that's preventative stuff, movement, force plates, all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then also on top of that, just for anyone, like I'm aware you guys, Dan, at Radix still, you're still doing like regular, like you're doing programming for people. There's classes there, nutrition stuff, right? And I know a number of people that have worked with you guys there, know people that are working with you, Mike, and it kind of works out well for everyone. So for anyone looking at stuff, kind of look up that stuff too.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Sweet.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Nick.
thanks.